So we have here the Dell Vostro 3555. It's a 15.6-inch screen AMD powered business computer. It's really aimed at small businesses that are on a budget. So the starting price of this Vostro is actually $379.99 right now. With that, you would get an AMD A4 processor. The particular configuration I have has an upgraded AMD A6 processor and costs closer to the $500 price range. So for that price, you get excellent build quality and a lot of features. It's actually made of all aluminum, so if I knock on there, you can see that. There's really no flex anywhere in the body. It's very rigid in its design. It uses aluminum both in the keyboard area and on the lid, so it's a metallic lid, and it's very solid feeling. So it's for the $500 price point, or even at $400 for the cheaper version, you're getting a very well built laptop. So today we're just going to take a tour around the Vostro 3555 and just talk about it and do a review here. First, I wanted to talk about the design and build a little bit more of the Vostro 3555. So you can get a few different colors, but I went with the standard silver color, and as you see, it's kind of a very professional looking, business-like. You can get a red if you wanted something a little more interesting or out there. I think this is probably going to be the most popular color just because it is very professional looking. You get some black trim around the edges if you open it up. On the inside it is black, so black around the keyboard. The keys themselves are matte, although if you see inside the keys between them, there is actually a glossy area used. Just to talk about the build quality again, the hinges are made of metal and they're very solid. It takes two hands to open the laptop, so it's a very rigid hinge. That's a good thing. The casing is all aluminum, and if you push in on the back of the screen, you can get a little bit of ripple, but it's not too bad, so fairly solid. And on the bottom of the laptop, it is also a metal cover, so you get good protection all over. So overall, for the price point, as I mentioned earlier, the build quality is very good. Let's take a look around the port selection for the Vostro 3555. So here on the left side, from back to front, you get a USB 3.0 port, and here is the heat vent. Then you get an HDMI port. Then you have a USB 2.0 eSATA port, and then this is just a media card reader, so you can put things like SD cards in there. There is nothing on the actual front side of the laptop. If you rotate around to the right side, here we have a 34mm express card slot, optical drive. And here we have headphones, then microphone, and then USB 3.0 port again. And we have some ports on the back. Have an Ethernet LAN connector, USB 3.0, VGA monitor out, and then this is just the power jack. So overall, nice selection of ports as you'd expect on a 15-inch laptop, and you probably have everything there you would need, minus maybe DisplayPort, which is included on some business notebooks, but not this one where they went with HDMI instead. The keyboard uses a chiclet style design, so each key is separate. The key travel is pretty good. It's not as deep as, say, a ThinkPad, but for the most part, I think most people will be satisfied with this. The media keys are on top. You have to hold down FN and then say F4 to dim the screen, or F5 to increase, and then you see the F8, F9 for F12 keys will increase the volume or mute it. You do have a few dedicated buttons at the top here. Most of those are just to access utilities such as system care. And you do get a fingerprint reader down here on the lower right side. The touchpad is a nice size. It's easy to slide your finger across, and I really like the click buttons. So they're nice and soft, they don't make a bunch of noise, so you're not going to bother anyone that's in a meeting room with you. Overall, the keyboard is very nice. It's not going to be quite as high quality as, say, a ThinkPad, and you don't get the pointing stick in the middle like you do on the Latitude line, which I would like to have. But again, at this price point of $400 to $500, you just don't get those kinds of things. But on the whole, there's not too much to complain about with the keyboard. It's a very solid feeling, so it's not really going to bother anyone, and I think most people will be happy with it. One feature I really like and wanted to demonstrate was the backlit keyboard. For $400, you get the backlit keyboard, which is a pretty rare feature to have at this price point. And you can easily turn it on and off if you hold down on the FN plus the F5 key. So there you go. Now it's off. Turn it back on. FN plus F5. So this is great for working in the dark. It really makes finding keys a lot easier. It's just, you know, if you're on an airplane as well and it's at night, then this will make doing work a lot easier for you. Now we're just going to demonstrate the viewing angles on this 15.6-inch screen that the Vostro 3555 comes with. It's a 1366 by 768 resolution, and there are no upgrade options. That's kind of the standard resolution you get. So let's tilt the screen back, and you'll see that since this is not an IPS screen, the colors will distort. It also doesn't tilt back very much, so that's as far as the screen will go. Certainly not 180 degrees. It's about maybe 120 at the most. We tilt the screen forward and the colors will wash out, but as long as you're viewing straight on, the colors are good, and it's a matte screen, which is a bonus because you don't get any of the glare that you typically would find in a business office. Horizontal viewing angles are better, so if you're viewing up from the side, the colors will hold up a little bit better. This is a pretty typical laptop screen. It's not an IPS screen like you find in an iPad, so while we can complain about the viewing angles, it's really no different to 95% of the other laptops out there on the market. Right now I've got a benchmark running on the Vostro 3555. It's 3D Mark Vantage, so it's pushing the laptop pretty hard, and what I wanted to do was test how hot this thing gets when it's being stressed out, and also just kind of get an idea for how loud the fan might get. So I've got a heat gun here, so I'm going to measure different areas of the keyboard and then near the heat vent. So in the lower right side, it stays really cool. It's only 79 degrees. In the middle of the keyboard, it's around 89 degrees, which is still lower than what your body temperature is, so you shouldn't notice too much heat there. Where it does start to get warmer is on the left-hand side. So it's, well, again, 89 on the left palm rest, but then if I move up to the top near the heat vent, it goes up to 96 degrees, so you might start to notice some heat there. And then over on the actual heat vent itself, it is again 98 or so degrees. That's still not bad. It's under 100, and you're probably not going to put your hand right next to where the heat vent is, but if you do, then you'll be feeling some of that heat coming out. As far as the fan noise, right now I have some 3D gaming going on, and it's really only barely audible, so it doesn't get loud at all. So overall, the laptop is doing a pretty good job of keeping itself cool with minimal fan noise. So that's a good thing, and given the size of this laptop, you would kind of expect it to be able to maintain its temperature pretty well, since there's a lot of space inside of it. So overall, I mean, that's good news that the heat stays down and the fan noise isn't too terribly bad with the Vostro 3555. As far as performance goes, we have the AMD A6 3420 APU, so that's part of the Fusion processor family from AMD. It has dedicated graphics in the form of AMD Radeon 6520G. However, those aren't powerful graphics. You could do maybe a little bit of light gaming, but you're not going to be playing higher end games such as BF3 or Skyrim or anything like that. You could play them on low frame rates, but the performance wouldn't be all that good. The Windows rating is 5.9 for this machine, and as you expect, the graphics get the low score there. The processor actually gets a 6.6, which is pretty good. The performance of this machine is very good for typical business tasks. You can multitask, and you can do, all the typical things you would usually do as a business user. You're not going to notice any slowdown due to the slow processor or anything like that you might see on like a lower end chip. So this is kind of a mid-range chip, and if you're just a business user, the AMD A6 is going to be more than enough performance for what you need. Let's weigh in the Vostro 3555. We already mentioned it uses a lot of aluminum in its body, so we expect it to be heavy, and it certainly feels like it. So put it on the scale, and it's going to stop at 5 pounds, 8.4 ounces, so right around the 5.5 pounds. So it is a pretty heavy notebook, and if you need something light to travel with, this is not the good option for you. However, if you're just sitting at a desk and the weight of 5 pounds, 8 ounces really isn't going to make any difference to you. So it just indicates that there's a lot of metal used in this laptop and that it is durable. So just to conclude on the Vostro 3555, I think it's a good buy for small business users just looking for a cheap laptop. It's around $400 or $500. Has a lot of nice build quality features such as the aluminum case, and it has a spill-proof keyboard, also the backlit keyboard. One complaint I've noticed in using it is that there is a little more flex and torsion in the actual screen itself than I would like to see, but it's not horrible, and it's stuff I've seen before. You just got to kind of take care of it. The performance is going to be on par with what you need as a business user, so there's no real need to upgrade to the above the A6 processor, and you do get some options to upgrade the RAM. I would say at least 4 gigabytes, maybe 6, and then you have, of course, various hard drive configurations you can get based on what your storage needs are. But for me, I would say a thumbs up on the Vostro 3555 if you think it might fit your needs. I think the price is especially attractive for the build quality that you get.